does the bleh, like at one point, because apparently she's
no.
she's been charged multiple times with sexual assault because she
Oh my
keeps
gosh.
harassing people. Has anyone made artwork of Raiden doing that yet? Because it has to be made. Like, Raiden, you unintentionally killed the main character and almost screwed over
no.
Earthrealm.
Bleh.
But since we're talking about Dead Space, I played through that recently as well.
Oh,
And I think
nice.
that is a top-to-bottom improvement.
Oh.
I can understand why someone might disagree, but there's certain things they changed that I feel make it better.
Yeah.
Like, I really appreciate the toilets now having the third gender.
I was gonna make a joke about that. I was like,
Table
I'm gonna make it for you, but then you made it.
Insert table bang sound effect, Sonic, in post, because I'm afraid to actually punch my desk and shake everything.
That's one of the things that's not worth getting upset over. People are just like, because
No, I can't play the game
point
anymore.
where people just like, even leaving aside just how minor
Yeah.
it is, like the fact that it doesn't matter, right? Like most people probably wouldn't even notice that if people didn't make us just think about it. But
Yep.
there's also the fact that, yeah, in the future there probably would be like toilets that would have a sign like that in the future. It just makes sense that would be a thing. It doesn't necessarily mean the developers support that or that they have anything to say about it. It's just it probably would be the case. It's like getting mad that there's falling damage in a game because, yeah, realistically there would be falling damage.
My only real issue, honestly, like
It doesn't mean the developers
pro-gravity, those
are happy about the or happy about the fact that people die when they fall from great heights. People die when they are killed. What it is it's just that's just the way. It's like saying, oh, what's this? Your game set in Nazi Germany has swastikas on it. Whoa, that's supporting the. No, it's not. It's just it would be there. Calm down. It's
there
not
is
a
one
big
change
deal.
in Dead Space that bothered me, and because I guess the problem is I'm getting in the head of the developers and wondering why did you change that so drastically. It's in chapter 2 at the very start where instead of there being a woman who's like lost her sight due to like having them damaged and she's caressing a corpse because she's gone insane and she gives you like the telekinesis, that's just completely scrapped. And instead there's a female soldier who's like, we held the line for as long as we could, and then she dies and you get like the assault rifle. I'm like, why that change? Like, I need to know why that was necessary to like even do that, because that was one of my favorite scenes in the original, because it was like so unsettling and sad to see like this woman who's lost everything. And realistically, like, it makes more sense to me that she's still alive than a soldier, because the necromorphs would have just fucking killed a soldier, but she's like a non-threat. She's just like laying there being useless. So, like,
I think it was just because they wanted to have the thing where you find the weapons naturally in the environment, which is a cool addition. I just think there's no reason why that woman couldn't also
her own
be
scene.
the blind person, or the person she's cradling could be the soldier with the weapon by their side. There's no reason that you couldn't do both of those. I do think the original is better there. There are points where you look at certain details and go, maybe it was better in the original. Others where I don't have a particular. Like some characters, when they die, it's a different death. I don't have a particularly strong opinion on it. But I think the biggest improvement is Isaac.
because he talks now.
Oh, I thank you.
Oh my!
That's so nice
oh
of
my
you.
God!
Wow.
Isaac Clarke.
I'm so nice.
Isaac Clarke is such a good
I
character
need to play it
now.
and finish it then.
Oh, he
finally.
talks, right? He talks, right? Because in the
Yeah,
original, he doesn't really talk.
in the original he didn't, and then in the remakes that was post trauma. So that was in his survivor phase. But here we get to see him speaking in his engineer phase, when he's just like a normal dude. And so it gives you this very different view of the character. And for me, like, one of the coolest things that you can have is just a professional just talking professionally about their profession. And so a lot of the times, instead of someone being like, "Oh, Isaac, engineer man, you go over to this place and fix this thing in this specific way that you should be the one to know about because your profession, not me. I'm just a security guy." Instead, it's Isaac saying, "Well, this thing is an issue. If I go over there and I do this thing,
I did
can
notice
fix
that
it."
when I was playing.
And
That
so
he's like actually driving the decisions because he's the engineer.
Yeah, and it's so cool, and it makes so much sense. And there's just small details that they changed about his relationship with Nicole. Like,
I haven't gotten that far yet,
in
so
one
not
of the
too many
side
spoilers,
quests.
but yeah.
But basically, you know, if you remember, did you play Dead Space 2?
Yeah.
Well, you know how that game opens with like a video
Yeah.
call from Isaac
They
to
made it.
Nicole.
Yeah, they made it Isaac's fault that she's on the ship at all, just to give him like horrible guilt.
That is acknowledged in the remake. So they made that part of the remake, like, so it makes sense. So it's like, it's not just a thing they did retroactively to make you feel bad for Isaac. You find that out earlier, and so it really works. These are the small details that I don't want to spoil, obviously, but like, there's sort of stuff that makes a bit more sense in the remake compared to the original, and it's just. And it's not even just stuff they pulled out of nowhere. Like, they looked at, like, well, how can we make this work? Well, there was this thing in the original. We could tweak that a bit and make it part of this. And when you get to that point, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like the addition of side quests was a bit of an odd one, because there were a lot of points where it's like there's a lot. It will like go to this part of the ship. Like, one of the things is there's security levels.
Yeah.
And to increase your security level at one point, you have to go to all these different parts of the ship to find other people's rigs, and like to up your security level so you can get into certain areas. And it's cool, but it's like a lot of the times it's like the next part of this side quest is now available at a point in the story where Isaac should be rushing to, say, the comms array to get a message out to warn some people or something.
I get it.
It's like,
from a gameplay perspective, makes sense for more content, but for a story perspective, there's no reason at all why he should be dawdling. It's the Fallout 4 conundrum all over again. Gotta find my exactly.
That's something in the Resident Evil 4 remake. Exactly.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake. It's like
so funny.
Oh no, Ashley's been taken by Verdugo. What am I gonna do? Oh, the merchants told me to go shoot some rats. Okay, I'll go shoot these rats.
Not only that, but it's
Leon.
like Leon is being like, oh, I'm like infected now. Ash is infected. We are gonna change and die anytime now. I'm gonna go on this island full of chickens to find the golden egg. I'm gonna go have the shooting range. Pew pew pew. I mean,
I'm gonna go out of my way to go to the throne room again and throw an egg at the portrait of Salazar just to piss him off.
I like this more though than when the game actually addresses it. That upsets me. I got mad multiple times in God of War Ragnarok when I would look for a secret item and they'd tell me, "What are you doing? Get back on the path." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." I'm actually mad the developers.
Oh really? They'll do that? Wow.
Yeah. Like, well, it's only at a couple of key missions. Whenever you have like a new person in the group, they question why Kratos is going off the beaten path and opening chests and stuff. But it's so annoying to me because I know a developer put that in on purpose, and it's okay when it's a joke, but they do it all the time. Like, it happens like 10 different times, and I'm like, okay, it was funny the first time. Now you're actually making fun of me for playing the game, and it's bothering me.
Well, they do that in Guardians of the Galaxy as well, where the other Guardians will just take the piss out of Quill, saying, "Oh, did you go the wrong way, Quill? You're lost."
Like that.
That's funny.
They all just take the piss.
But then it's okay because it's like the motley crew of Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's fun, and that's like the most interesting thing about that game. Like, the amount of effort they put into adding useless dialogue just to make sure they're always talking about something is really impressive. Like, they're never not talking about something. Like, there's always like dialogue, and it's kind of impressive. The only jarring part is you have that video game problem that really can't be avoided, where they'll be mid-sentence and a cutscene just starts in the middle of them talking because, like, you can't help it. Like, it's gonna happen no matter what. Unless you're playing Assassin's Creed, where they
what were you gonna say? Dang it!
Yeah, because it'll start up right when the cutscene's about to start. Sometimes, like, you'll be running, and like Rocket goes, "Hey Peter, I've always wanted to ask you." Then a cutscene triggers, and you're like, "Damn it, no!
You
gotta ask me."
I wanted to hear that. Dang it! Yeah. Actually, one thing,
and sometimes it's like, oh, cause sometimes you're thinking, well, if the characters are talking, they probably have a decent length to go before the next something happens to move the story forward. So I'm just gonna sprint ahead, and it's like, no. The game doesn't want you to sprint; it wants you to walk. Because if you sprint, you're gonna trigger the next cutscene. I hate that.
Random segue, but my friend told me something. He's the comic guy too, and I thought he was pulling my leg with this because he gets stuff wrong sometimes. He was 1,000% right on this, and I can't believe this fucker was right about this. So I told him, he brought up like, man, I hate how in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, they've never addressed Drax's origin. I think it's really bizarre and interesting. And I go, well, actually, if you play the new game, they go into his backstory. And he goes, they do? He's a human saxophone player from Earth? And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, Drax is from Earth. He's a saxophone player. That's the actual like origin for Drax. And I'm like, Drax the Destroyer. Like, when he was actually stronger and a superhero and could fly and shit. You're telling me his origin originally, you're full of shit. And I'm like, I'm Googling it, and I'm like, this fucker's right. He's actually a saxophone player from Earth who gets killed by Thanos just being an asshole, and Thanos' dad, who for some reason is actually a good guy, feels bad that his son killed a random Earthling in his family, so he feels it poetic to make him like god level to kill his son and get revenge for his family, and he makes Drax the Destroyer and wipes his memory completely so he doesn't know about it but still has his anger towards Thanos. And apparently you can't kill Drax, because when you kill him, he's just reborn in a different type of body. So he's had 3 different deaths, and his current look that's in the films is accurate to the comics because he's died so many times that he's been reimagined different times. And his new form is that current Drax, where he thinks that his family was killed on this alien planet in a different way, and he can only use knives and shit, but he's a good fighter and can't fly anymore.
So no offense to this origin story of Drax.
I wonder why the films left that
out. No offense to this like origin story of Drax, but this sounds like something that Taika Waititi would do. If this was,
I would have.
This sounds so insane.
If I was in the theater watching an accurate story of Drax's origin, I would think it was some director bullshit where like they changed it just to be what they wanted. But no, that's his actual origin. He's a saxophone player from Earth, not even a fighter, a saxophone player. Yeah.
That's insane.
It sounds like the kind of thing that would come up as a joke that one of the characters would make and be like, oh, that wouldn't that be stupid? You know, when the films just make fun of the source material for no reason.
To be fair, it's handled very well, ironically enough. Like, even though it sounds so stupid, it's never treated as a joke. It's treated very seriously that his like family is robbed and taken from him, and how sad the dad feels. I mean, like Thanos' dad, how sad he feels about this like pointless death that had no reason to happen. And so it's treated super well, but it's still just so funny that he's like a saxophone player of all things, and he's like just a regular dude, not even like an ex-Marine or something.
To be fair, like these sort of like crazy ideas, I could definitely see it back in like 50 years ago, because
it's so
that's when the original
book.
Guardians.
It's so great. It's like how the Red Lantern has a cat, like a space cat. Like it's just something cool like that. It's stupid comic nonsense that I kind of
the angry cat.
It wouldn't make sense, but I like it. I like it.
It's still in Injustice 2, actually. That angry cat,
yeah. Like Dexter has like the best comic origin where it was like it was owned by this old woman.
I love the origin story of the cat.
Beaten to death by these youths who then tied the cat in a bag and threw it in a river, and the cat was so pissed off by this turn of events that a Red Lantern ring passing by was just like shot down to it and was like, hey, do you want the power of Red Lantern? And the cat's like, yeah buddy, and takes the ring and like gets
He's
revenge.
The opposite of the Puss in Boots character.
And then Atrocitus, who is basically like the embodiment of anger in the DC universe, pretty much. He's just like, yeah, you can join my corps and be my second in command. And Dexter's like sick.
The funniest part about Dexter is I'm pretty sure his origin came after his appearance. So if you just saw Dexter, you would assume he's a space cat because he's blue. And also, why would he like be a Red Lantern? He's probably a space cat, like some weird breed of sentient like space cat. No, they catch you off guard again. It's like Drax's origin. No, he's an Earth cat. Why is he blue? He's just blue. Is it explained why he's blue? No, but it is canon that he's blue. Even the owner states how bizarre it is to see a blue cat. Like, he is canonically blue. Just don't think about it.
So also, I'm not entirely sure. I think his name is actually Dexter, but then it changes to Dexter when he joins the Corps, which is funnier. It's like, it's not just Dex. It's not like his owner was like Dexter. Haha, isn't that a funny name? He's just called Dexter, and then he's like, no, I'm now Dexter because I'm among the stars. It's like either he or Atrocitus came up with that, and that's fucking hilarious.
Also, it makes more sense that an Earth cat would be a Red Lantern because cats are prone to random out of nowhere fits of rage. It's just like a character trait of a cat, so it works. It fits.
yeah That's the funny thing about it, indeed.
All yellow, because some cats can be quite skittish.
Yeah, I like how there's a post on YouTube where it's like this orange cat makes that meme face where he's like angry looking. People are like, actually, the most casual orange cat I've ever seen. Because usually they're freakazoids who like attack you. And I'm like, I guess that is normal, but I've had an orange cat and he was like the best orange cat ever, but I guess like he's the anomaly.
Aww.
Yeah, my cats are always awesome. I'm a good cat dad.
The orange cat from Alien was pretty nice at the end, though. So there's a nice orange cat, too.
The Captain Marvel. Don't forget the Captain Marvel orange cat, which they are doubling down on in the sequel. I saw in one of the trailers. There's a moment where a bunch of cats run down the stairs, and I'm like, oh my god, they're tripling down on the cat.
I didn't notice that one.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that part about it.
Oh wait, that could have been actually an edit. That could have been a clever edit from... I don't think so. I think it actually happens. I think they're doubling down on the cats because people unironically kept saying the cat was one of the best parts of the Captain Marvel movie, which should not be a compliment. That's a terrible compliment for a movie because that means everyone else is so bad that the cat stands out. But
I disagree because Nick Fury was still better in that movie. At least Nick Fury was still a good thing about that movie.
Oh, I know, but people were unironically putting in like their reviews and like also like on articles how great the cat is, and I'm like, that is not the compliment.
It's
you
a
think
cat.
It is. You're actually low key insulting the writer if you say that because he's just a cat.
It's a cat. Yeah, it's just a cat.
The cat does two things in the entire movie. It eats a guy and surprises you by doing so, and then it ruins the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's all the cat does.
That's why it's a meme that
it's not.
That's
even
why it's a
memorable.
meme that all the people who like the movie are like middle-aged lonely women because they just love the cat so much, like they're cat women. That was like a running joke, and I was like, "Ooh, if you may have hit the nail on the head pretty hard with that one, you're cutting a little bit deep there.
Ow.
Dial it back."
I do kind. I do kind of wonder what happened to that cat and why it's like out of I don't know like how long Captain Marvel takes place in the Marvel universe, like 20, 30 years later. Now the cat returns. It's like, okay, where have you been, Mr. Goose? Like,
Space cat.
I assume she took it with her into space and just didn't bring it back for the
he
fight
eats the
against
Tesseract
Thanos.
too, right? Or he eats one of the Infinity Stones. So
oh, I don't remember that. Oh my gosh.
Did he ever vomit it back out?
I think he vomited out to Nick Fury, right? Wasn't that?
And that would make sense, because otherwise it's like,
yeah,
does he just never get rid of that?
So.
Or did Captain Marvel go, okay, cat, and she just like grabs him like a towel and like rings him, and like the cheek goes, and just coughs up the Tesseract.
It'll cough that up, and a bunch of tentacles coming out and stuff.
I think he does puke it up. Yeah.
I just realized how weird the concept is
sure
of the
that's a fair
Marvels
thing.
movie, because Captain Marvel in the MCU is like absurdly strong. How are they going to make a villain that could even be a threat to all three of them? Like, because she's already God.
There's also,
you'd be surprised.
well, there's that, but there's also the fact that like no one on Earth knows who she is realistically, because she's been on Earth twice. Once in the 90s that was covered up, and then again during the fight with Thanos that no one was there for. No one saw that. So how does everyone know what she's capable of?
To be fair,
then
though,
Kamala's just like, oh yeah. Then Kamala just like,
Kamala's like a super big fan of her.
Ms.
Yeah.
Marvel. She's like, oh, then she comes in and does all this stuff, and it's like, how do you know Kamala? Who told you?
How
that?
would
fair,
Kamala
though,
even
it
know
seemed like
Captain
after
Marvel? In the
Endgame-
comics, she bent her whole life around that chick because she's her favorite hero. How would she know about her?
Yeah, because in the comics,
Did they explain in the
comics,
show? I haven't watched the show.
Carol
Did they
had
explain
Carol.
how she knows Captain Marvel?
I didn't
okay.
finish it. I got like 2 episodes.
Let me explain something here. I think after Endgame, all the superheroes became a lot more popular, because after that you see Spider-Man. It's like, oh, they have like the memorial for like all the dead people, like Black Widow and Vision and stuff like that. So I feel like at that point it's like, yeah, there was, remember in Spider-Man they were like, did that for like Black Widow, but like, yeah, Black Widow is a known superhero in that universe. So I would have to assume like after Endgame it became like whatever they did is like I'm sure everything from Phase 1 to Phase 3 is like known to the public or something like that. Like I think that's sort of where they get their information and stuff.
But do they ever, like, in the show, I'm just curious, I'm not even like trying to own the writers or anything, do they ever establish that her costume, like the new Ms. Marvel, do they establish that her costume is inspired by Captain Marvel in any way, or does she just make her own little costume?
She has a bunch of Captain Marvel like posters all over her rooms and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing, is because the costume can't be inspired
You're
by,
right, it
by
can't,
Captain Marvel.
because she never wears that fucking logo.
She doesn't have the lightning bolt.
It can't.
It's specifically the Warbird costume that inspired it. That's where every detail comes from.
Let me explain, Sonic. Let me explain with a picture.
Kamala.
Okay,
Kamala
I
Khan.
need to hear about this. What's up with this?
So the original Ms. Marvel, which is still like everyone's favorite, but they won't admit it, she had a giant little lightning bolt on her chest as her symbol, which is what the current Ms. Marvel has too. But which is dumb, because I think even in the comics they make that mistake. Snake, I'm pretty sure on her wall it's the modern Carol Danvers, not even the one that inspired the fucking logo. So even the comic book guys didn't get it right.
I have a defense for this.
That can work. That can work at least, because you can at least say she knows of the lightning bolt. It's just that most of the merchandise available of Carol currently is of her current incarnation. So I can accept that. But in the MCU,
she's never worn that.
She's always had the star thing. She's never worn the lightning bolt. So there's no way that Kamala could have gotten it from this. That would have to be an original creation by Kamala.
And that's what happens.
Likewise, then
she does make it herself. Yeah, that's what they have to do.
You see, in the very beginning, she cosplays as the current Captain Marvel, but then later on, she makes her own suit. The
scarf is also a reference I just noticed too, because it was like a sash. Well, it was actually a scarf originally, then a sash, and then Kamala copied it as a sash, or as a scarf, I mean. So even that's part of the original look. Oh well.
Jeez. I don't really want to get into too much of the TV show, but I think the suit is
it
made
is-
with like her family or something. I'm a little bit. It's a little muddy now.
That doesn't make sense. Her
Here's
costume's not
Here's the
haram.
question, Sonic.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
That is a joke they make that talk about
Oh, they do?
haram,
Okay.
but
Then fair enough.
here's the
There you
thing.
Well, that show is very cultural.
is-
Yeah.
That's what I mean, though. Yeah.
Does the show explain why she's Ms. Marvel?
Yes, it does.
Because that's another thing that relies on Carol. Because in the comics, it's because Captain Marvel was a man, and so when Carol takes on her persona based on him with powers similar to his, she's Ms. Marvel because she's the female equivalent. It's like Superman to Superwoman. It's what distinguishes the two. But if Captain Marvel was always a woman, as it is in the MCU, then why is it Ms.? Why is it not Marvel Girl or something?
So
why is it not? Why
they
where
have
does
a new
Ms.
way
come
of
from?
explaining in the last episode. Funny enough, I actually mentioned this like half a year ago when Dog asked me the same question too. I don't necessarily hate the way they explain it, but they do explain it, and it's very well. You'll see if you're going to continue watching it, but they do explain why like she comes up with that name basically.
That's actually the main reason that I boycotted
I think-
the Captain Marvel movie. I was gonna watch it despite everything until I saw they didn't even let Captain
Really,
Marvel
that's
be
the main
original.
reason you boycotted the not
didn't-
not for actresses' reasonings or something.
No, most actors are trash. I'm just gonna come out here and say it. Like most of them are really annoying people when you get to know them. Like most of them are really annoying people, and they're very disconnected from reality. Chris Pratt's a rare exception, but a lot of actors, like for example, I love Luke Skywalker and I like the actor, but do not follow his Twitter. He says the dumbest, stupidest things. Like do not follow him. He's
very political. He is very political.
Which is funny because he accidentally ended up taking photos with Nazis, which is super funny. Like he did not know they were Nazis. But anyway, so I shouldn't say trash, but I don't care. What I should say is I don't care what actors do or how they are in real life because I'm here to watch their movies and their characters. I separate the art from the artist.
Yeah,
in the same way
sure.
that I can enjoy a Stephen King movie, but I think Stephen King himself is actually like a remarkably stupid person in person. Like he's remarkably dumb sometimes, but probably me too though. I bet I'm stupid in a lot of ways, so it's fair, to each their own. No, but my biggest issue with Captain Marvel, the reason I boycotted that film myself and was not going to see it, is when I saw that in the flashback, they didn't even let the original Captain Marvel, who like she got the inspiration and powers from, be the guy. Even he had to be changed. And I was like, okay, we're done. This film does not care at all about the source material.
Does it even exist
We're
in
done.
the like?
Yes, the female scientist. That's Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Instead of being a male,
is that
instead of
blue?
a male
Is that supposed to be
soldier, it's a
Blue
female
Marvel?
scientist.
Is that what the guy's called?
No,
The
just
original
Captain
character?
Marvel is a guy originally, and Ms. Marvel was
Captain
the
Marvel.
spinoff.
Okay,
And then
okay,
later
okay.
on, for some reason, Marvel's like, that's not confusing enough. Let's give her the exact same name as the original. So now when you Google them, you're just gonna get both, and you're not gonna know what's going
She's
on.
the Captain Marvel now, basically. Yeah.
And then Ms. Marvel is the kid
Yeah,
now, which
well,
is also
the reason-
confusing because,
Yeah, the reason she's Captain Marvel is because Marvel got the name because the Fawcett character, now known as Shazam, was
Shazam,
Captain Marvel.
yeah.
But then he was forced out of print for being a clone of, basically a rip-off of Superman to varying degrees. And so then the trademark ran out, and so Marvel scooped it up. But Marvel has to keep putting out comics with that name to maintain the trademark. And so but no Captain Marvel has ever been all that
Yeah.
popular. So they've gone through 6 Captain Marvels before Carol, and eventually someone hit on the idea, why not just take Ms. Marvel, who has been a consistently popular character since the 1970s, and have her take over as Captain Marvel, which is a good idea. Naturally, it's just everything they've done with her since has been atrocious. Let's hype her up in the comics in preparation for her movie by having her beat the face of the MCU into a coma in Civil War 2. Good job, guys. That's going to win people over.
Yeah, wasn't she not really like a good guy in the Civil War comics or something?
No,
she's bad.
Whatever,
they're all bad though. Even Ms. Marvel is bad in the
yeah.
Civil War. And again, it's one of those situations where I'm not sure if the writers even know how bad they made these main characters, like that they made them villains.
Like
I'm not
bad
even
in
sure if
terms
they
of
know.
bad, like evil kind of bad. Yeah.
Like
Wanda kind of bad.
I mean, think about this, right? It says a lot that probably the most heroic person in the entirety of Civil War 2 is Steve Rogers. And remember, this is the time period. This is during the Hail Hydra.
Oh my
Secret
gosh,
Empire
that's
period,
right, yeah.
He's actually part of this organization that split off from the Nazis. He's the most good person because there's been a vision that Miles Morales is going to kill me. So Carol's like, sorry kid, we have to arrest you. And Steve's like, no. I'm gonna go and talk to the kid. Look, I understand you don't want to do it. We're gonna sort this out. He's the good person, and he's secretly a Nazi.
I remember that's a very iconic scene where it's like Captain Marvel wants to kill like Miles, and it's like that's like a big like, oh my gosh, like really.
It's also this was during the era where like Marvel was pushing Miles Morales super hard. Like they kept putting him in everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. This one channel that I love. Shout outs to him. Goons and Jobbers, or Jobbers and Goons. It's one of the two. He makes funny. He makes his channel's content has changed quite a lot. He's trying new stuff, but originally what I fell in love with is he would take hilarious moments that have happened in comics or like absurd moments and compile them. And one of them was like titled "Marvel Keeps Putting Over Miles Morales." Like he just keeps getting to do increasingly cooler stuff because they're trying to promote him so hard. And he's like, this man, just so you're all clear, this man got the W on Captain America, which, if you recall, fought Spider-Man, like the OG, the original Spider-Man, the flagship of Marvel. And Spider-Man could barely land a single punch on him. And Miles beat the brakes off him. Like, beat the brakes off Captain America. And he's like, just so we're clear, they just allowed Miles to lap the OG Spider-Man because they're pushing him so hard. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Marvel wants to push like Miles and Gwen so hard, where they did like Gwenverse,
Gwenpool,
like something similar with Miles. Like, what if Miles Morales was Thor and he literally says, "Asgard is my hood," and by Odin's fade, and you're like, oh, this was clearly written by a white person. I'm sorry, that was clearly written by a white person who's trying to appeal to the urban youth. I think it was, but like,
actually,
it's
okay.
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. And it's like, and then you compare that to what they're doing for Peter Parker. And it's like, oh yeah, MJ is like married to this guy and has kids.
Dude, they
now.
cuck Spider-Man so hard. They love to cuck Peter lately. It's really making me sad. I guess they had to nerf him because he originally had the Rizz of a god, and now he must be cucked to balance him out.
Yeah, like
the
Spider
comics,
was
right?
an actual harem. He was an actual harem protagonist.
Okay, because.
He had like 4 different women lusting after him at any given time, which includes Black Cat and Mary Jane Watson, who remember is a model in the comics. She's a successful supermodel. Like she and Black Cat both wanted to fuck him at the same. But not at the same time, but they both simultaneously wanted to fuck him.
Yep.
But I think there was a comic actually where MJ dresses up as Black Cat and Felicia acknowledges how big MJ's ass is, so maybe she would want.
This is
want to
actual art
Peter
from
at
the comics, which I thought it was like just a fan art. This is actually like apparently comic art, or at the very least, it's a comic book artist. And I just love this. I want someone to remake the second photo, but of fighting game characters and have like Johnny Cage in the center, and the rest are all Mortal Kombat ladies.
That'd be definitely his fantasy, though, because I'm pretty sure every Mortal Kombat lady except Sonya is all like, Johnny.
That's why it's funny, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Who's the actual Rizz god in fighting games, then? Since, like, we're all technically, like... Well, I guess I'm the fighting game
Rizz
channel.
God.
We're all, like, Mortal Kombat guys. Who's the Rizz god of fighting games?
Before we get into that, can I because I've seen this word so many... I need someone to explain me. What the fuck is Rizz? I've been hearing this so often recently.
It just means charm.
Okay, thank you, because it's been popping up recently.
Well,
yeah.
I know who it is. I know who it is, but technically it's not in fighting games. It's Ryu Hayabusa, because there's a new woman who wants to fuck him in every Ninja Gaiden.
Go. We got one. We got Ryu Hayabusa. That's fair. It counts. If they appear in a fighting game, you cannot argue they are a fighting game character. They are by definition, so it counts. I was gonna say Aaron Black. I think
Aaron Black. Oh yeah,
I think a couple women.
No. Aaron Black is a slut. He's not got the Rizz.
They don't hit.
The Rizz is when they're attracted to you.
Yeah.
He's just the one who goes out and gets.
Yeah,
so he's not. He is not the same.
He tries to hit on all the characters.
Like Ryu Hayabusa will be there in his like tuxedo from Dead or Alive Dimensions, being like, "We are not the same," which is ironic because he and Aaron Black have both been voiced by Troy Baker, so they are technically the same.
Oh, that's funny.
But they're not the same. Aaron Black is a
That's
punk.
why I made that joke a long time ago on Twitter, where if you fight the Revenants, I did the Nebula scene from Endgame, where it's like, you're weak. I'm you. It's like whenever you beat up a Revenant, and it's like your clone, like you're weak.
I'm you. That just reminds me of that MK11 scene of like Jade like shit talking to former Jade. It's like, blame your loyalty to Katana and let us write to our dads. And it's like, but you're but you're still working for her.
Yeah, it's true.
Best Rizz. This is hard.
We know who
Melina
has
is
the
another one of those that's a
It's
slut.
Melina. She's the anti-Rizz.
Yeah, that's another slut type character too.
Yeah, that's Reiko, Goro, Tanya,
Honestly,
Baraka.
not to be a jerk, but I hate to be cliche and shit on writers.
I think she has a thing for Kung Lao.
Yeah,
and
Kung Lao would be.
What?
I was gonna say I hate to be mean to the writers. It's such an overdone joke, and it's like at this point beating a dead horse. But I feel like the only reason that Johnny Cage has anti-Rizz is because the writers don't want him to have Rizz. Because realistically, he would. Like he would have Rizz. He's a Hollywood movie star. He can definitely put on a personality whenever he wants to, right? A persona. So he would definitely have the women, but they just don't want to let him be a ladies' man because that's a taboo in the modern era to have a man just get all the women. But I feel like realistically, he would.
His characteristic is also like that kind of like asshole-y, jokey kind of a deal too. I think
only in 9.
He
I
would
think in
pull
X
women.
he's not a jerk anymore. It's only in 9 that he's
Oh yeah, but
a
I
bit
meant like
abrasive.
in general. So like even in Legends movies and stuff like that. So it's like,
but that's all NetherRealm era though.
You don't count the
3D era, he
Legends
was not
movies.
like
The Legends
that.
movies are a terrible take on Johnny.
Well, the 3D era, he didn't really
like,
have a personality, right? It's more like
his personality was cool.
I mean, Johnny was
a cool guy.
Remember, Johnny was married prior to
Oh, was he?
MK1.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
yes, he was.
Yeah, he has an ex-wife by that point, and so he clearly has like he clearly has game. Plus, also you have to consider for a lot of people. I mean, you can't even say, oh, he has anti-Rizz because he's an arsehole. It's like women fall in love with serial killers.
Oh yeah,
all the
those are
time.
attractive enough.
Like yeah, it's like.
Yep.
Like people wouldn't care. They just like Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is a handsome guy. That's all it takes. Handsome, he's got
he's
charisma.
rich.
That's all you need to
In
succeed.
fact, let's give him
Star.
credit,
Yeah,
okay?
rich
Because
too.
he got to sleep with Sonya, who not only does not like him, which is tradition, like she did not like him before, but also I'm pretty sure Sonya Blade.
Before.
Yeah. So not only that, but I'm pretty sure you could argue that Sonya Blade is not a very sexually active person. It doesn't strike me as her character, and he still got her to have a one-night stand with him. So Johnny Cage may have more Rizz than we think.
I mean, yeah, for sure. He's got some.
I do like how the writers were smart about it though and did make it a one-night stand, because some people when they saw Cassie Cage debut were actually mad. Like a decent amount of fans were like, "Ah, she would never marry Johnny Cage," and it's like she didn't marry him. They made a oopsie.
well, they did get married
Eventually.
Like he calls her his ex-wife.
That's an
in
obligation
MKX.
kind of marriage, you know, because you gotta raise a kid.
Well, it depends on what you trust. Do you trust Sean Kittleson, who wasn't working at NetherRealm at the time with the comics, or do you trust the bit in MKX where Quan Chi says Johnny Cage is mine, and Sony says no,
he's mine.
Yeah, I think she did eventually
Like,
grow to love him. That's fair.
Clearly, the intent of the game was that
Sonya
Sonya fell in love with Johnny. I mean, you could maybe combine it and say that they had the one night stand after Shinnok was defeated, and then she got pregnant, and then they got together, and then that flashback happens. But that seems a bit too complicated to me.
Well, yeah, and I mean that era of Johnny Cage is the best Johnny Cage, honestly.
Plus, she's clearly into him in MK11 again.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they make it back. They make it up again.
They kiss on screen. That doesn't happen often in games. They kiss on screen.
You're right, they do. It was a way better kiss. It was a way better kiss than the Battle of the Realms kiss with Liu Kang and Katana, which is the most funny out of nowhere kiss in recent fiction that I've seen.
Out of nowhere.
I love the comment too. I didn't even think much of it because to me, like I do think of like Katana and Liu Kang. It's such an old ship, right? But someone in the comments said it so well. Like, dude, I actually busted out laughing when Katana kissed Liu Kang because I've never seen a more out of nowhere kiss like in a film. And I'm like, yeah, it's true.
You can watch my reaction to that kiss in my video. I'm straight up being like, oh, what the fuck? Okay, okay, here just happens this.
Okay, so Dog, did you ever watch a little movie called The Last Jedi?
I know exactly.
So, you know the part where Rose just out of nowhere kisses Finn and he looks so uncomfortable?
No. Rose also says that one
awkward?
amazing line, remember? It's like, we'll win with love. Mwah.
Yeah, we won't win by destroying what we hate, but by saving what we love. And she kisses Finn while all the rebel bases are blown up.
Is the ship getting blown up in the
He's just there like...
And then Finstrom just like, what the fuck? I didn't know we were having this. What?
They just didn't have the stuff getting destroyed in the background. It would have been a somewhat salvageable scene.
That was comical as hell.
Her character would do that, and Finn looking shocked makes sense because not only did she kiss him kind of he didn't expect it. He's probably also never been kissed before, so like his reaction is pretty fine. But the stuff getting destroyed in the back just makes it peak comedy, which is funny because the director did not want it to be funny, and it's unintentionally one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
You don't know that.
It's even funny because
he's all about defying expectations. So maybe the expectation he was defying was, oh, it's a nice romantic moment, but he's defying it by saying, look what's happening in the
Oh
background.
yeah, I was gonna mention real quick as a joke too, like a little. It's a bit late now, but you know how like Liu Kang is a monk. Imagine if like in the Battle of the Realms movie, or even a funny webcomic, someone should make this joke. Like when Katana walks up and kisses Liu Kang out of nowhere, imagine he just like gets mad and starts pounding the floor, and he's like, "No, my celibacy," because he's a monk. You bitch! I can't be a monk anymore now. You defiled me.
You mean like when you have the character who's like taking a vow of silence, and then someone annoys them until they tell them to shut up, and they're like, "No, my vow of silence."
I just think of Vincent from regular
that
show.
moment
When he
in
starts
the
pounding
Last
the
Jedi,
floor.
I think the funniest thing about Finn is like that would have been like his moment. He would have been like, I did it. I saved the rebels. We've got this done. And then Rose ruined it with that kiss and explosion. I think that whole thing is just like comedy gold in a way. I found a Rizz character, by the way.
Who is it?
I'll say it later.
Yeah, I was gonna say Finn. He clearly has
Yeah,
Rizz.
he deserves it.
That's a funny. I mean, he's got Rose. He's got Poe.
He tried to go for Rey, so I don't know if that was one.
Imagine if
I don't know why he would
there
go
was
for
that
piece
new
of
character
cardboard,
in the Rise of Skywalker, the black lady who was also a stormtrooper too, right?
who also liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Rizz. So I was like, yeah.
I never
Imagine
saw
if
that.
like
You never
if they,
saw that?
if they actually
Oh my
cared.
god!
I know, right?
Why
That's
are
a
you surprised that I didn't watch?
That's a
Why are you
historical
surprised
moment.
that I didn't watch the worst Star Wars movie
It's a
ever made? Why are you
historical moment
surprised?
still. It's amazingly bad. It's like you come to appreciate life a lot more after that film.
You appreciate
wow,
like
that's insane.
you appreciate mediocre writing when you have to deal with terrible writing.
Not just terrible
like-
writing,
I feel
but
like
like all
the-
the behind the scenes stories is so hilarious.
It
Too.
would have been. Oh yeah, dude. Like I love
It
the
does seem
scene where
like-
like they try to praise Ryan Johnson for doing some of the storyboards for the movie, and it's like
I
a
didn't remember
crayon.
this.
It looks like a toddler drew it, and like they're praising him for the storyboards.
I
They're
think
like,
the
"Come
director's
on."
fighting over. The directors fighting over these like movies is the most funny thing about
The
this
tug of
franchise.
war?
Those three movies.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
general.
the obvious like disregard
Like,
for
like
canon.
Luke showing up. Like what one movie, Luke's just like, oh, lightsaber, chuck it over his shoulder. Next film, the same lightsaber's like, oh, a Jedi
Weapons should not be
given more
forgotten.
respect.
It's-
And it's just like,
It's like Ryan Johnson's like, I'm gonna change this up, and I'm gonna like change. I don't care about what happens here because I'm gonna make it different. And
no. Ryan Johnson wasn't trying to change Star Wars. He was trying to force someone else to do it. Because he didn't introduce any new ideas or anything. He was just like, well, I'm just going to put them in a situation where they can't fall back on old ideas.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
they manage to fall back on old ideas.
And
Right.
JJ
It's
comes and is like, nah,
remarkable how he
I'm
added
gonna
nothing.
retcon everything you did because I want to go back to our old Star Wars. It is such a hilarious mess. Like this whole trilogy.
Yeah.
It really does seem. It seemed like the best way to experience that last movie is just to go on YouTube and look up Rise of Skywalker, all Palpatine scenes, and then just watch the.
Yeah. It's just glad to get him back on. Well, to be fair, as I say, glad to get him back. He is still around for like the Clone Wars and stuff like that for his voices and stuff. So
You
he's
know
still
what's
been
funny,
around.
guys?
But
You
like,
know what's funny to me, looking back on it? Because of how terribly the writers treated Finn's character in The Last Jedi and how he's pretty much like not even useful at all in the Rise
how
of
would you know that?
Skywalker.
How would you know that, dog? It's not like Twitter reminds you every single month that Finn's character was wasted.
But I'm getting
wasn't
to the
he
joke,
such a
though.
wasted
I'm
character?
getting to the punchline. So Finn's
Okay, sorry about that,
character
keep
is
going.
so wasted, and they don't play to his strengths at all. Like they never use any aspect of his character that this is a true story. I legitimately forgot that he was a former stormtrooper. I forgot that was his entire selling point, is that he's a stormtrooper fighting with the good guys, because they
became
literally
good, yeah.
never use it. Like, except that one time when he's like, oh, I know where this thing is on this ship because I used to, like, work on this ship. That's
here.
it. There could have been so many scenes where he goes behind enemy lines as a stormtrooper because he's been one. He could have the suit on. And imagine if he was still risen up the women while in full stormtrooper gear, and he just says to himself, I'm so fucking good. Like, I can make anyone fall in love with me.
They do bring that up. Even Rose brought that up as like a Star Wars trivia. Oh my gosh, you're the legendary Finn, the stormtrooper gone rebel. Like, here's a
Legendary.
Wikipedia of that. Like that, she says that in the last Skywalker. I'm like, what?
legit,
That
all he
sounds
did,
such like a kid thing to say.
all he did
And
in
then,
that movie,
like,
I'm pretty
in-
sure, was just hold a gun up to Captain Phasma and make her take the shield down. I'm pretty sure that's the extent of what he did in that first movie. But he's a
Wasn't
legend.
that in the Force? Yeah, the first movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he loses in a sword fight, and that's it.
Yep.
It's like, clearly, what they should have done is let John Boyega use his natural accent, not put on this American one, just be his natural accent, and go full attack the block like a proper Londoner, and just pull a knife and
Now, just give him a tiny lightsaber, like a lightsaber blade. And have him stab people.
no. he has a fight. He has a fight with that stormtrooper who calls him a traitor.
Traitor. King.
I love that scene. They also did nothing
That
with
was the
that
most
too.
badass stormtroopers. Yeah.
I looked way too hard into that because everyone was hyped when that movie first came out. Like looking back on it, you see its flaws, but when it first came out, everybody loved that movie, right? And I told my professor at the time, I was like, you know what I'm so excited for, Professor? When that stormtrooper shows up, that proves that they've thought about an uprising of Jedi because they've made an elite force of stormtroopers who can counter lightsabers. Like that's why he shows up. Like they've made no. I was wrong. He's a one-off. That never happens again. Even though it's clear that they have a guy who can fight Jedi. Oh well.
Didn't they have all those like special troopers in the Rise of Skywalker who were fighting Kylo? It's like, oh, we got the
Knights of
dark
Ren.
troopers with
But they're just
the Knights
bad
of
guys,
Ren, which is
though.
also like kind of hype in a way.
No, that's a separate thing because there's those red guys in that big like 2 versus everyone duel after Snoke dies in the second one. But then the Knights of Ren show up in the third one after being mentioned in the first and having no presence in the second whatsoever.
And the best part, don't forget, because they need to let you know they're the Knights of Ren because they went a whole film without discussing them, there is the most epic, lazy throwaway line I've ever seen in a big budget movie. It will forever stick with me because literally, Sonic, I don't know if you remember, what happens is the group of them walk by and there's 2 stormtroopers. He looks at the other stormtrooper and goes, Knights of Ren. And the other one goes, cool.
Is that Rise of Skywalker? You said that's in Rise of Skywalker?
Because they have to let you know that those are the Knights of Ren because you wouldn't fucking know. Sorry for cursing. It's going to get us demonetized. Bleep the word demonetized too. Cut that out because that's going to get us demonetized more than... And don't tell the audience who watches what that word is. I want them to forever guess what word you censored.
We're like an hour into the podcast. We totally are fine. I think two.
One.
We're getting there.
We're like 2 hours in.
The
We're over 2 hours in at this point.
Okay, so in the like, what is she called? Okay, that's what she's called. So like in the Skywalker movie, there was one line that also like blew my mind for how dumb it is, and it's because of the I think I watched like Mahler's video a long time ago, and when he mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's true. That is so dumb. You remember the thing that there was that one purple hair lady in the Last Jedi who kind of didn't want to tell Poe, who doesn't want to tell Poe about the plans, which screws them all over, has a little like civil war inside of there, and she turned out she was a good guy. She was a friend of Princess Leia and stuff like that, and she sacrifices herself with that one move where it's like visually does look really cool.
Oh yeah.
You know what it's called. You know what it's called?
That's the only reason that I know her name, because everyone just called her Purple Hair, and I was gonna make the joke that she's so unimportant and so unmemorable that all we know about her is a characteristic, not even her name. But then I was like, oh wait, I actually do know her name, only because they mentioned the Holdo maneuver as a throwaway line in The Rise of Skywalker, because they have to explain why it can't just be replicated over and over again to win the war instantly.
They said that that's what I was about to bring up actually. Like they said like, why don't we just use the Hodor maneuver? And it's like, we can't. It's a 1 in a million chance success rate. And it's like, oh wow. Well, isn't that a great thing you explained now, not back when she was about to do it, when she's about to like gamble this thing that's like 1 in like a million chances of survival or working out.
By definition, that lady got lucky, because there's no way you can intentionally pull off a 1 in a million shot, which means she did just gamble everyone's life. Yeah.
Exactly. At that point, I would have changed the tactic. It's like, really? It's like 1 in a million. Are you sure about that? I think fighting the freaking ships would have been a better idea at that point.
Also, in the Star Wars universe, that doesn't solve a dang thing, because it's a universe where you can make droids, and a droid could absolutely nail a 1 in a million shot because it's a computer, and even modern day computers can accomplish stuff like that. So it wouldn't matter that it's a 1 in a million. It would have to be inconceivably impossible to do, because a droid could do it.
I mean, I guess it's kind of expensive just using a bunch of like, oh, you mean like the droid could perfectly calculate that? Is that what you're saying?
A droid could be used to pilot a ship and do a Holdo maneuver. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not suggesting getting a million ships with droids and having
That's
them
what I
all
was
take
thinking.
a shot at it.
I thought you meant like using the sacrifices. It's just like, okay, let's keep doing it until it succeeds once or something.
No, I'd love to see that happen, but like, okay, we've got a million ships with a droid in each one. They're all going to take one shot at each. Okay, first one does it and just gets it first try. Like,
Oh,
well, we got
we got
999,999 others. Droids and ships.
I mean, it worked out.
I guess we can try with them as well, and all the rest give it a shot, and none of them succeed because it's 1 in a million.
It's a gotcha. It's a
Literally
gotcha
one
machine,
did it.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, like gotcha mechanics.
Have you guys heard about the rumor that like there might be a 4th film and they're bringing back like Daisy Ridley and like John Boyega and stuff like that?
But no, they're doing a race spin-off of some sort, I believe.
Okay.
A race spin-off?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a film or a show, but I've heard that they're doing some kind of spin-off for Ray.
Yeah, they're making a
Race.
sequel. Ray is getting a sequel now.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's getting more movies.
Snake.
Yeah.
Snake, I heard race spin-off, and I was like, what the like a pod racing or something?
That would have been cool too. There should be a game like that. Why are there no
I'd
modern
love that.
racing games for Star Wars? Like, that'd be a
There are
slam dunk.
old racing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Showing it off? What do you
this-
mean no modern games of Star Wars?
No racing.
No, there's no. You said there's no
Pod
modern
racing.
racing
Thank you.
games.
Thank you. I was like, no modern Star Wars games.
There was Star Wars Racer, Star Wars Racer Revenge, and Star Wars Super Bombard Racing, and that's
What an
all.
insane-
I got some Lego
knowledge
Star
you
Wars
have of
racing
video
and Lego
games.
Star Wars in there.
By the way, I know I'm late to comment on this, but I just have to show it in the chat now because Snake mentioned that time that Mary Jane dressed as Black Cat and said that Black
boy.
Cat complimented her butt. He toned down the actual dialogue, so I must actually paste it in chat so y'all can see what she actually says.
Because if I recall correctly, she actually says,
Your
I mean,
dump
I wasn't
truck."
sure if your dump truck ass would fit in one of my suits, but hey, we made it work.
Which is kind of funny because
That's-
she's a model, so technically she shouldn't have crazy curves because they usually pick models that don't have that. But hey, man,
Comic logic.
this
and
is
stuff
fantasy
like that.
supermodels.
Yeah,
Fantasy supermodels are dump trucks,
Oh yeah, they got the curves.
which I prefer honestly. And yeah.
I look forward to the day when Daisy Ridley gets her, like Rey gets her spin-off, basically. I just feel like the fan I always love movie fan discourse sometimes more than the movie itself.
Oh, you're
just
looking
to
forward
see,
to
like,
the
what's gonna
arguments.
happen.
Gotcha. Okay, so you don't want her to get
Yeah, it's
redeemed. I
so
thought you were being
fun.
nice and being like, I want to see Ray actually written well. Nah, you're just looking forward to all the beef.
Oh no! I'm just curious about the outrage. I'm very curious to see how things go. I would assume the outrage would be just like as they predict, which is just like it's not gonna sell well and they're just not gonna continue.
Thing is,
That's what I feel like it's gonna go.
I feel like honestly, I feel like as long as J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy have nothing to do with it, it should probably be at least a decent
Yeah,
character.
the only issue people
Yeah,
have right
maybe.
now, there's two big issues people have, and sadly they've even tainted Ahsoka with this. The issue is this.
Okay.
The plot for the next Rey movie and the plot for the Ahsoka series are word for word the same plot of Luke Skywalker graphic novels from the extended universe. Even the name is the same of the subtitle
Oh,
of the
really? I
films.
didn't know about
They
this.
just don't let Luke do it because Luke is dead now, but it's literally Luke's story. And they just given it to
Well, Luke isn't dead in the Ahsoka show though, so that's a weird thing.
He
Well,
is.
I mean, of course, the
he is
actor
dead in the
is really
Ahsoka show,
old.
I think, because it's taking place during the
Huh?
Mandalorian, isn't he? Oh, you're right. He's not.
Well,
he's not.
Mandalorian.
You're right.
Mandalorian
You're right.
takes place between 6 and 7.
You're
Yeah.
right. So Ahsoka. Oh, you're right. 'Cause
Luke is
she's
dead in the Rey movie.
You're right. Ahsoka's dead in the Rey timeline because she even hears her voice when she's fighting Palpatine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, because the Rey timeline is already like 20, 30 years later.
But yeah.
stuff
But
like that.
my point is, even the title of Ahsoka's series, like the subtitle or whatever, it's mentioned in the trailer. Maybe it's legit the title of Luke's story. They just gave it to Ahsoka.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost every single plot point in the newer Star Wars is from older Star Wars.
Just put on with
Like,
new characters.
even to the specific point of one of the a character from the original trilogy has a son called Ben, though in the originals it was Luke, which made way more sense than Han and Leia having a son called Ben when Leia barely knows him. And also the ultra specific point of the son of Han and Leia turns to the dark side and is fought by a woman around his age, although in the comics it was his twin sister. Here it's Rey, who was originally theorized to be like Luke's daughter, so that she would then be
yeah.
like his cousin or something. And it's like, yeah, the old stuff was just way more interesting.
And also, I don't know if you know this,
even-
Sonic, but infamously, the Star Wars team, when they took over, like when Disney took over Star Wars, they infamously made the decision to say that none of the graphic novels and books outside the films are canon. only what Disney says is canon. So now that they're doubling back
Yeah,
and
so
going
now
to the
they
old
can-
stories shows how little they trust their own team, because they're just now copying what was in the
Copy
extended
pasting
universe.
the novels. People like this? Yeah, we're just gonna use this onto like other characters and stuff.
Only they're slightly bastardizing it because they're using like new characters to do it. So, oops.
Yeah.
New characters that aren't as good.
I personally
Ahsoka's
like
cool, but
don't.
she's not as cool as Luke, I
Unfortunately,
agree.
right, like
The thing about Ahsoka
Rogue One,
is like
Rogue
oh, you go ahead, sorry.
One. What's this? Rogue One is the best of the
Agreed.
Disney Star Wars films. Like
Movie,
no
right?
question.
You're saying movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, the best Star Wars thing Disney's done is Mandalorian.
It's actually
That's
Andor.
going downhill. But people say that, but I can't get into.
Well,
Andor.
it's slow, but it's really.
I
good.
had one
Anyways,
big
keep
beef
going.
with Andor,
But,
but it's
Rogue-
not the time to talk about it. Go ahead.
We'll get to
The
that
point is-
later. We'll get to that later.
The point is, as good as Rogue One is, like comparatively at least, I would still rather have like Dark Forces where Kyle Katarn did it, because Kyle Katarn is a way better character than any of those characters in that movie.
Kyle Katarn is.
He's the main character of the Dark Forces in Jedi Knight games.
That guy.
he's-
Okay, I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, Kyle Katarn is the main character of this like FPS series. Who he starts out as
Darth Vader's
he was
apprentice.
an Imperial soldier. He was. You screwed me up, Sonic. I was saying
sorry.
something. You screwed
What?
me up.
Sorry about that.
Damn it, Sonic!
so-
you keep screwing it up.
So Kyle
Not like this.
Kyle was an Imperial soldier who then quit and became like a mercenary with his partner, and then learned that his father was a Jedi and he was Force sensitive too, and so he took his father's lightsaber and like saved the galaxy by killing this evil dark Jedi, and then there's this whole arc where he turns to the dark side and has a fight against Luke's wife, Mara Jade, who is literally just Black Widow.
Yeah.
But in Star Wars, like give Black Widow a lightsaber and that's Mara Jade, and so then she turns back to the light side and is like, okay, I'm gonna cut myself off from the Force so it doesn't happen again, and then his partner is seemingly killed in Jedi Outcast, and so he's like, I'm gonna get the Force powers back. I'm gonna build myself back up as a Force user and kill that son of a bitch. But and then he saves the galaxy again, and then he becomes a teacher at the Jedi Academy, as seen in Star Wars Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Academy. And so he's your master in that game. And if you turn to the dark side, he's the final boss.
Ooh.
And he's like the strongest enemy in the game.
So,
Is this the
Random
guy
thought-
we posted on Twitter when he said your favorite character?
random,
I see.
random thought here, Snake. Actually, never mind. This might be this is real. Okay. For a second, I thought this was Photoshop because it's usually Dark Horse that does Star Wars comics, but apparently there are some runs where Marvel published the Star Wars comics.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just a
Yeah.
coincidence that
Yeah.
Mara Jade is a redhead and her name is remarkably close to being Mary Jane?
Mary Jane.
Do you think it's a coincidence, or do you think that's like intentionally on the nose? Because it's like shockingly close.
Well, let's see. When did Mara Jade debut? That's the question.
Possible. Well, Mary Jane is a very common name too.
It was in the
Yes, but she's also a redhead.
Heir to the Empire in 1991. I could see it. I'm pretty sure MJ was like Pete and MJ were like the thing.
Kind
at
of
the
funny
time.
Oh wow, she debuted
So
very old.
I could see that
actually.
being the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of funny how Disney shot themselves in the foot.
I just want to say the reason I say she's just Black Widow is because she was an assassin for
you're
the
right.
Emperor. She's a redhead. She wears like black leather, like skin tight black leather, and then she fought Luke, and then he turned her to the light side.
Yeah, Black Widow
That's
Jedi.
just, like Black Widow. Black Widow in the comics was an actual villain in the early days, not just like not just like an assassin who joined Shield. She was a super villain who, like, I think she was an Iron Man villain originally, or she might have even been a Spider-Man first or something. But then she became a good guy, and so like Mara Jade is just that. She's just that. That's why it would have been hilarious if they got Scarlett Johansson to play her in the movie.
Oh, that would be funny.
Alongside Mark Hamill, it would have been the funniest
It
thing
would
in
have
the
been
world.
great.
See Scarlett Johansson
It's just kind
randomly
of funny
appear.
how we have the leader of Star Wars right now. I just forgot her name. Kathleen Kennedy, whose goal was definitely to have more female main characters, which I'm all for if they're written well.
Yeah.
But Rian Johnson like ruined it by killing Luke because they could have totally had a Mara Jade movie or series, but because he's dead, they really can't make anything. I guess they could still do it, but it would be like really changed. Like someone else
There's a
would
bit
have
of
to
an
turn her
issue
good.
with.
Do you think they're going to give that to
Mara-
Rey too? Do you think Mara Jade's going to show up
no.
and Rey's going to pull her to the light?
Well, the issue with Mara J is I don't think Disney even remembers this character, so like that's the big issue there.
Yeah. Dumb.
A lot of these characters you guys are mentioning are like.
I mean, well. You say that, but it's only a matter of time before they're so devoid of ideas that they say, "But what's the popular thing in Hollywood right now? Multiverse.
No.
Let's cross over with Star Wars Legends and have Mara Jade show up."
I legit thought that was the plot of Sky.
And then we can bring back. Then we give Mark Hamill as like a post Jedi Academy Luke Skywalker from the Legends continuity, and then we can bring back Han as well because he's not dead there. Chewie's dead, but Han.
People will get mad at me for this, but I'm okay with them just hiring someone who looks like young Luke, like very close to him, because there has to be like a face double instead of just constantly CGIing him.
Mandalorian.
Younger, like,
Oh no, Boba Fett. It was Boba Fett. Wait, did you not know about the Boba Fett thing?
But that's
Were they-
CGI.
No. He say.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
It's
Yeah,
CGI.
I want an actual
and
young actor who
I think
looks
it was,
like young Luke to play him, because that's
Oh,
just,
so like
to
Han
me
Solo,
better.
right? Like the Solo movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
just do that.
I think what they did. I think what it was that in the Mandalorian season 2, it was
Mark
like
himself,
a voice
right?
double, and
He was on set,
no, I
from
think
what
it
I
was a voice
recall,
double
actually.
because I don't know, but I think it was a voice double with a CGI face, and then I think it was all AI voice for Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. But I remember on Mandalorian season 2, it was like Mark was on set for that part, from what I recall.
Yeah. But yeah, they really should just like get another actor. I mean, could you imagine if Hollywood like back during like the prequels had the same mindset they do now? Like Obi-Wan would have just been like Alec Guinness like CGI voice recording.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The whole
Oh
time.
my gosh, that is
instead
true.
of Ewan McGregor, who people like the unifying thing with people who like or dislike the prequels is Ewan McGregor was really good as Obi-Wan.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they made an entire show. They got a show made on the back of that.
Yep, pretty much.
So maybe there could be another person who could play Luke Skywalker and be just as beloved as Ewan McGregor, but we'll probably never see the opportunity.
The thing you just mentioned about the time travel thing, I just remember that one video that Red Letter Media made, where they made like this is the Skywalker, the Rise of Skywalker predicting that this is gonna be the plot of it, and of course it wasn't. But you know what the funniest thing was? I think like a year ago,
It would have been a better plot than what we got.
I think I would have been kind of hyped just seeing like young Anakin show up or some freaking shit. But I think that plot was actually done in a Lego spin-off, like short or something like that. They
man.
actually did that. Like, here's a Christmas special, and where Rey is gonna look for all the legendary like, freaking what was it? Jedis and stuff like that, and you see like 3 versions of Obi-Wan being like "Hello there" and stuff like that. It's cute from what I saw, the trailers at least. It's like, but that the plot brought to the plot was then taken to that Lego series, which is like funny.
That is funny.
Okay, I do want to say, I mean, I don't know if I'm really interested in that new Ahsoka show, despite the fact like in the Star Wars like films and stuff like that, she's like one of my favorite characters, specifically because of Clone Wars. Like that's the only reason I really like that character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, she's completely different now in like this live action like stuff. So like I like her, but I don't really know how they're gonna handle her in that show.
They could ruin it.
Well, they did have time travel in Rebels.
They did.
But they destroyed it on
I
purpose.
do know that.
They purposely like got rid of it so they can't ever use it again.
It's like it's like the guy's like, yeah, we'll introduce time travel and use it to bring back a dead character,
Or
just for
save
that,
a dead
and then
character.
then
Basically.
we'll destroy
Who
it.
was supposed to die
Yeah,
there.
it's like that's it. That's all we're gonna use it for, just to write a character out of an impossible situation. Or whatever.
It's funny.
Like,
I would not have mind if Ahsoka died there, because like, okay, Rebels. Have you guys seen Rebels? This TV show, or like do you just know a little bit? Okay,
No.
the show Rebels, in my
I just know
opinion,
about
is
that.
such a kids show, like through and throughout. It is just so like, kind of a show. But then you have like these awesome moments where like Darth Vader himself like shows up and like just basically like 1v5s every single character, and they're just like, fuck, we can't do anything about this guy, we have to run. And then, like he just like straight up wipes out half like the rebels and stuff like that all by himself. Like awesome moments like that. The episode where Ahsoka fights Darth Vader is like one of the best like Star Wars episode like ever, just that encounter, especially because if you watch Clone Wars. But other than that, it's like 90%, 80% of the show is just like kid stuff, very like cutesy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's my issue with Clone Wars. Is like I rewatched the movie and then I watched the first episode.
Why'd you watch
and I
the
was
movie,
like,
dude? Come on now. and
because that's the way it starts. The movie itself was whatever, but I watched the first episode and it's like, here's Yoda with some like random clones, and the droids are just like having stupid banter. And I'm like, this is dog shit.
I need to send
I can't
you
watch this.
the list because you see, that's the thing though. Season 1 sucks. I agree with that. Definitely.
I've heard there's a proper watch order that skips all the dumb bullshit.
Yes.
Star Wars fans are good about that. They've done that before.
I remember watching like a bit of an episode way back when it was actually on TV, and it had like Ayla Secura voiced by Jennifer Hale. And she had like a Russian accent or something. That was funny. But like, because I've heard really good stuff about like some of the episodes in Rebels, like when Obi-Wan has his final duel with Darth Maul.
Yeah, that was a good episode. In my opinion.
I've heard that's really good, and it's like I don't want to watch all this stuff when
exactly.
What I've seen so far is not gonna. And again, here Rebels is even more kid friendly, and I'm like, that sounds like it's even worse.
Exactly, yeah. I watched the Rebels, and I just feel like it's fine, it's cutesy, but the really good episodes are really good. Like you said, the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul stuff, and that. The Clone Wars, I highly what I did was I watched a list of like, okay, what are episodes you need to watch that are not filler, and that was such an amazing experience. I think Clone Wars, because of that, I think Clone Wars is like super good. And what's really funny is they got a season 7. You know about the story about them getting a season 7, like that whole thing.
Yeah, they got a chance to do one last season on Disney+.
What's very funny about that is like because they only had 6 seasons, and then they wanted to end the show, which would have perfectly ended it on Order 66. And they never got that until Disney Plus gave them the season 7. Season 7, like half of it is such dog shit filler. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's like the first half is they're like promoting the Bad Batch, which is the next show that they're making, and then in the middle they have this really boring ass like characters and like just so lame. And then the second half is just like fucking peak Star Wars. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. That's kind of how the show is, in my opinion. It's just like you really have to skip through the bad stuff and just watch the good stuff, and you would just have a great time with it.
I hate the name The Bad Batch because every time I see it, I misread it as The Bad Bitch.
Bad Bitch. I didn't watch that show at all, but like, I heard the show is again like very like it's kid friendly and like it's okay, but then like some good. I'm very impressed with our tangent. We went from Resident Evil 4 to this.
Yeah, we had a bit of Marvel there in between. It was a good job.
Marvel. Hey, wait a second. Before we forget about it, I was gonna mention my Rizz character. Like, I found the Rizz character here.
Show us.
Do you guys know who this is from Samurai Showdown?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this guy in his outro, he'll get chased by a bunch of ladies because of how hot he is.
Yep.
Right.
There's also a different guy in Samurai Showdown who has like a bunch of swords. Like he has like 8 in total or something, and I think each one is named after an ex. Like either
that's funny.
Girlfriend or an ex-wife. So he's also
cool.
got Rizz technically. You just can't keep him.
I suppose who has the most Rizz depends on what your
definition.
Yeah, because for some people it would be who has had the most women attracted to them, where some people it would be who has the most like, stable, long-lasting relationship with a woman, which I think would be Sol Bad Guy.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Oh, that's nice.
Because I'm
the most loyal.
I think Jacko is like some kind of incarnation of like his girlfriend or wife or something. Because Sol Bad Guy is a scientist,
which is hilarious.
That's he's a scientist, and he made a big sword as his first big creation, which is just awesome. But it's like, I believe he has like a pretty consistent thing going with Jacko, just at least once you got a memory back or something. So he might be the one with the most Rizz if you look at it from that perspective. Because most fighting game characters are not married because their spouse is dead or they divorce.
You gotta be a
or
side
something.
character to have a wife in a fighting game. You gotta be like the Ken Masters.
Well, Ken's got a pretty good. Sorry, go on.
well, I think Guile actually, because Ken's wife has left him, I believe. Whereas
that's a false one. Yeah, that's a false rumor.
Okay. It still blows my mind to this day that like Guile's wife and Ken's wife are sisters.
That's
Ken and Guile are brothers-in-law.
That's kind of cute.
Kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I didn't know
now that you mentioned Heihachi, I guess he's got a lot of. Well,
have you ever
at least
seen
we
Guile's
know 2.
wife?
I mean, he actually has married 2 different. He's married a woman and slept
banged
with
another one.
So he has some Rizz.
Yeah.
There's like a rule in old school Japan.
Which is funny because his previous voice actor who died was also old Joseph.
Oh
Joestar,
my gosh!
He did the exact same thing.
Oh, Dio's got a. Oh wait, technically Dio is a fighting character in some games, so Dio's got a huge ton of Rizz.
And
right?
remember, Heihachi adopted Lee Chaolan. He had an adopted son too. And who else adopted a child in part 4?
Whoa! Hang on, you're cutting off. You're cutting off all of a sudden.
And that's why I don't like Sonic.
Oh, you! Oh my gosh, dude! I can't believe I come back to this. Hang on, I gotta turn my camera on for this shit. I can't believe I come back to this shit. I hope I didn't press anything weird below me. I was still recording though, so it should be fine. Yeah, you're in the middle of that. Like, I think was it? You keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so Heihachi Mishima, he adopted Lee Chaolan.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go.
So he has a legitimate son, an illegitimate son, and an adopted son. Remember who was it in JoJo Part 4 who found that invisible baby and took him in as a member of the Joseph family? So Joseph has the 3 as well.
Oh my gosh.
He's also got the legitimate son, illegitimate son, and the adopted kid, and it's the same voice actor. It's the same character. It's just that I guess
one's less of a villain.
Joseph is Heihachi with more Rizz.
That's an awesome comparison. That's really funny.
That's insane. Yo,
you can make a video about that, Snake, with your what was the series and
parallel
stuff.
plots.
You can bring that up, yeah.
Can you make a video about how the shocking number of wives in Street Fighter that are blondes? Even Hakan, who's like a Turkish wrestler, I think, even his wife is a blonde.
Blonde wives.
And she's like still Turkish. She has like the very tan skin. Like she has a darker olive skin tone, but she's still a blonde. Sadly, Street Fighter V, as it did with a lot of things. Oh no, actually Street Fighter 4 ruined this too. Never mind. So, do y'all know who Hakan is or not? So
Hakan. Let's see.
The red skinned.
Yeah, it's kind of a tangent, Sonic, but it's got a payoff. I promise. You should laugh at this tangent. Don't Google it.
All right.
Don't Google
Hakan.
Yeah, don't Google
Hakan. I just saw a little red.
He has like 8 kids. Doesn't
I just saw a red tan dude.
Yeah,
that's all I saw.
Don't keep looking. The spoiler's not his appearance. It's something else. So, Hakan has a very Hakan, despite his crazy appearance, has a very smoking hot wife. Right? Here's the disturbing thing. They had children. That's not the disturbing part. The disturbing part is they all have his hair. His weird blue jellyfish-looking hair that's like horrific. All of his kids got that hair. Every single one. So there's like this cursed artwork of Hakan's kids. Like, I just don't like them. They look like Mario characters.
Wait. So Hakan's kids are like canon? Like they actually exist?
I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, he has like 8 kids or something like that. It's mental.
Look at this.
Oh
yeah.
Look at his kids.
Oh god, the one at the bottom right looks like Tony Chopper from One Piece.
I want to give the benefit of the doubt and say they're wearing hats to look like their dad, because those could easily be hats. But seeing as how it's been shown that like Hakan's head actually looks that way, I'm thinking that's just their hair.
So let me look up Hakan here. Basically, what he looks like. Oh, that is a really wrestler man there.
He looks very weird. Hakan is one of those guys who like his design isn't bad. It's just like I don't get what inspired it. I don't get why he's red.
Yeah,
I don't get why
weird.
He has teal hair.
Yeah.
Is that the Turkish flag or something? Like, why does he have those colors? Let's see.
I can only imagine that, but maybe the idea is that the skin color is the result of the oil he's always lathered himself up in, but I don't know.
He got that JoJo hairstyle, basically. Like, that kind of like, what is going on here?
If you were describing Hakan to someone, you could go to like that meme of yes, no, by just explaining his characteristics. Like, okay, so Street Fighter has this grappler. Okay. Yeah. The grappler constantly is covered in oil as a power-up to make them more mobile. So they're just constantly slippery and wet. And they go, yeah, that's awesome. And muscular. Great. And it's a dude. Aw.
So you basically want what's her name, that the big buff lady from 6, like, but like
I want this fan art that I just posted and saw is what I want.
Straight up gender bend.
Just constantly oiled.
You know his hairstyle kind of reminds me of Gachio from JoJo Part 5, the ice guy.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.
Random fact, it does look like him. Random fact, I can do a really good impression of Hakan's English voice, because in the Japanese version, for some reason, he says something creepy when he puts the oil on. It sounds creepy to me. He goes, Slamone. Like, it sounds like really kind of weird and almost fetishy. But in the English version, he goes, which I always love. He just goes,
that's fun.
I liked Hakan when I played Street Fighter 4.
Before we get off to our next tangent too long, I kind of want to get back to one thing because I was interested about it.
Well,
One Piece.
So how many more topics do we have?
How many topics do we have in general?
Yeah, because is this going to be like another two-parter?
We're already on part 2 right now. Basically, we never took a break.
Is
Two
mosquitoes.
mosquitoes.
Take a quick break.
Hell yeah, I got one. We're already on the 3-hour mark. We can just like talk for like about another hour, basically. In terms of what we can talk about,
I like talking to you guys.
I feel like that's awesome. I feel like are you done? Are we done talking about Resident Evil 4 remake? Because I feel like there's still some things we can talk about that.
I can't think of anything else to talk about, but there'll always be the opportunity in the future when Mercenaries comes out. I mean, not Mercenaries.
I guess so.
Ada.
I was just saying we never really talked about Ada. We never really talked about like the gameplay and stuff like that. We kind of went from Resident Evil 4 is kind of cool, right? 4. And then Trinidad Dog is like, yeah, but remakes suck. Let's get into this debate, baby.
But actually,
but actually, and we didn't really get too much into like the games and stuff. So yeah,
unintentionally.
But yeah, we can talk about that another time. I really want to mention Ada's voice actor just because you stole a fucking joke from me, Snake. That I cannot believe that I really wanted to bring on this podcast. But
the Sony comparison.
We'll bring it up later. So talk a little bit about that. And then I want to mention Andor because, dog, you seem to have something you want to say about that. But we kind of like skip through that. Yeah. And then,
it's such a minor thing. It's not even worse. Like basically, I was even gonna say just talk about it off the podcast because all I was gonna say is that it makes no sense to me, like the rebellion scene, because
which one,
the stormtroopers and the Empire. Yeah, when they like finally rebel and fight back, I'm like, realistically, the stormtroopers would destroy them. Like they would annihilate this mob of people because they have laser guns that are machine guns. They just all be dead. Like there'd be no actual rebellion.
It depends on how you depict it. Either they were not prepared
or at worst. At worst, you know what would happen? They go like, hey guys, we're being attacked by these people, make a lesson out of them. And they'd be like, okay, send in the Star Destroyer, and they just glass the whole city. Like, realistically, there's no happy ending for that town. Like, they just get fucked.
Yeah, definitely, like, that rebel ends up being, like, horrible for them. Because it was interesting, because, like, oh, you think they're rebelling against them? No, they were just saving one of Andor's friends. That's it. Like, obviously, the aftermath of that is they're fucked. Like, definitely. Like, that rebel was completely useless. Yeah. They were only doing that just to save Cassian's friend, who was just in there, basically. So, but yeah,
I do love the line, though. The speech from that girl is actually, that's the clever thing about Andor, is it's a very realistic depiction of what happens during war, where she goes, you know, the military loved us back when we were useful for, like, you know, supplying them stuff and trades and whatnot. But then they left us out to dry, waited for us to get desperate, and now they're back and pretend like there's some angels helping us. And I'm like, yeah, it's very accurate to what happens with actual, like, dictatorships. That's so accurate, like communism and stuff. Like bravo for the actual reference to real world shit that happens.
The series has like a lot of great speeches. Just like what was that guy called? Like freak, he has a really fun name. In the prison cell, the one way out speech guy.
Not fun enough.
It's a really funny name, basically, because there's a joke about that. But anyways, and then at the end where Lucian gives his like speech about like what did I sacrifice and stuff like that. There's a lot of good speeches in that show.
Yeah. Okay, quick break.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break. I can get an Andor a lot. So basically, just to summarize,
let's go to the little boy's room.
Yeah, me too. Get some water and stuff.
Where is everybody? I'm alone. Hello, Sonic.
I think I just heard hello, Sonic, or oh.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I was showing the audience my latest acquisition.
Hell yeah. Oh!
Darkness from Konosuba, a.k.a. Yellow Saber.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, at first I thought it was Saber, and then I was like, oh, no, that's actually the Darkness.
Because see, what's funny is, so I ordered this along with a bunch of other figures, like the Edelgard and Bernadetta and stuff I got down here. But when the package arrived, they sent me Aqua. Now, also from Konosuba.
I forgot if that was a thing that happened that you mentioned last time, or is this like a new thing?
I don't. It's possible. Just in case, basically, yeah, they sent Aqua instead, and I was like, that's the wrong one. So I had to. But it's always one of the things where it happens on like a Saturday or something, and so it's like, well, I can't send it back now. It's too late to take it to the post office, and then tomorrow is the post closed, so I have to wait until like the Monday, and so I could finally send it back. Fortunately, they have like a thing where you can just like scan a code or like print off the thing and just tape it on, or the So they can scan it and just send it. You don't have to pay for anything.
Okay.
And then it's to wait about a week or two for it to arrive there, so they could send me Darkness instead. Which one else was like, I wouldn't mind Aqua. Like if it just any other time, it could have just been like, well, it's fine. It's Aqua. Like I don't like Aqua as much as Darkness, but it's fine. I can just order another Darkness.
Yeah, she's
But
funny.
no, I already have Aqua, so there's no point.
That's true.
I mean, granted,
showed us that. Yeah.
Yeah, granted, this is like the proper. Like the proper one, and not like some bootleg I got off eBay. So this one can actually like stand up to some extent. What something that's really funny about this is she comes with an alternate upper body.
Okay.
When she's been attacked by the cabbages, because you get the cabbages too. So when she's been attacked by the cabbages, and she's like,
the armor.
The fuck?
Yeah, so the armor's broken. So she's just like, no, and you get that hilarious bit where like they all like. She's bashing her while she's like got all the armor broken off. So you can do that. But I wanted to go with the yellow saber variant.
That's a fun thing for True Underdog to come back to. Hello, welcome back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was very confused. I was about to Google just for fun, woman attacked by cabbages, and seeing what pops up, because I was very confused.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what Google gave me.
Konosuba does weird stuff like that.
Oh, Darkness has a lot of like physical gags. It's freaking hilarious. I love the one where it's like dung 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 dung. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, have you not seen Konosuba, dog?
I'm sorry, huh? What?
Have you seen Konosuba?
I don't think he has.
What's the name? Konosuba? How do I spell that?
Konosuba.
Konosuba. Yeah. Konosuba.
Is that the one we were talking about, the magic girls, and he's got a harem?
Well, I guess he does have a harem.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to watch it though. I've just been stuck like watching other stuff. Whenever I'm on like lunch break, I like get stuck watching regular show. That's been my
regular
new
show.
unintentional
you mean, like,
addiction.
The regular show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What season are you on?
Yeah. I'm only like, I think I'm almost on season 3, honestly, because I'm like 26 episodes into season 2 already. And my favorite clip so far is when Rigby unintentionally gets Benson to lose his shit because he's trying to get him to say his name 3 times because he's jinxed.
Oh, yeah.
So he throws the can at him.
Rigby!
I've never felt more relatable to a character. I love that like the trash gets thrown in his face. He just goes, He starts getting the crap. He's just finally had enough, dude. The poor guy. He's the most relatable boss character in like any show, because the boss is normally like you hate them because they're annoying and rude. He has every reason to have his attitude, and he's only mean when you upset him. Otherwise, he's just a standard guy. So, like he's so relatable, and people in the comments are just making it better. They're like, notice how he didn't hit Rigby. Props to Benson for taking out his rage on not people. Like, you know, he just attacked everything else.
He like the grass and all the stuff next to him and stuff like that.
That was the trash can.
I personally think regular show like never really drops off in quality as the season goes, and like. It's only, but I will say, if you want more of a plot, the plot, like there is a plot, like a thing that happens later on in the seasons that does happen a lot later. And
of course.
You'll just get like, oh, there's a story here, and like, but yeah, overall.
I've already seen the ending too, not the dramatic part, but I've seen like the ending, like the resolution. Yeah. And it's got one of the most realistic endings for like a show ever, where they just kind of like just keep on living, and what happens, you know.
It has a very like bittersweet, like really like tear-jerking ending for the show. It's just like, oh my god.
That's the ending that I wanted for Ed and Eddie, honestly. I wanted them to like be shown grown up and like what happened to them later. I just kind of wanted to see it. It would have been kind of cute. That was funny, Snake, by the way. I appreciate that little gag you just did.
Yeah, I to put simply, basically, Darkness is like, what if Saber from Fate was a massive masochist?
SM.
She's basically built up. Ooh, who is that?
Little Isaac Clarke.
Isaac Clarke.
Yeah.
Little same Isaac
She basically
Clarke, my same reptile.
Here he is running.
She basically has like zero. There's no accuracy with attacks. So because instead of like focusing on like building her accuracy with her weapon, she's focused on building up her body so that she's can just tank as many hits as need be. Because she enjoys it, but she's useless in a fight. Because the whole joke of Konosuba is like, what if like the main character's party of cute girls were the most useless fucking people you could imagine? Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite like comedy animes out there. It's so.
It reminds me of one of my favorite Ball Buddy comics, and this is my last little tangent, then we'll actually start recording. So here's the joke. It's a Ball Buddy comic. I'm sure you all already know this by now, everyone, but one of the running gags in that comic series is that elves are absurdly horny, but nobody else wants anything to do with them. So this guy is trying to build this one traveler is trying to build like an adventuring group, and he has like this like scholar elf with him, and it's like this girl's like, I'm a flat-chested dark elf. I'm very rare. And he goes, I guess, but what are your qualities for adventuring? What do you mean? I'm super rare. And the elf's explaining like all the different elf classes. And at one point she's fighting through the tiers to like explain the different elf classes, because an elf's like ultimate dream apparently is to like marry a human and like have kids. And when she's explaining like that, she's like in tears. And then the next class of elf is, she's like explaining it, like still doesn't quit her job, but she's just like crying while doing it. Oh, and also she does the part where she does the bleh, like at one point, because apparently she's been charged multiple times with sexual assault because she keeps harassing people. And she's in the back like, bleh. Has anyone made artwork of Raiden doing that yet? Because it has to be made. Like, Raiden, you unintentionally killed the main character and almost screwed over Earthrealm.
I love that. There's so many different
future
artworks of
Raiden,
that.
actually.
I mean,
You could have said anything, but he must win.
I think the optimal version of that meme would be a character who is very easily forgiven for like the most heinous shit. You know, like the whole this character's redeemed. No, they're not. They never apologize.
The best example of that is the He-Man show, the new He-Man show, man. But go ahead.
No, I was just saying Kotal from MK11.
just a character who's like the most like awful things, but then joins the hero group. It's like the exact character. The exact character from that Pro ZD skit where it's like about like where they just all forgive this one guy, one of the villains, and he said, "But
you
he killed
my
family."
But it's okay.
And it's
now.
like that character. Yeah, that character's like, I know. Bleh.
I love like the memes where it's like you got into a car accident and like killed like 20 like children orphans. I know, it's like stuff like that.
Can't find where that's originally from. I found the clip, but it's like green screen, so I can't tell what the actual. Scene
you mean the anime?
It's probably like
I don't know the
feel
original
like
anime
I've seen it
either.
before.
It's like a Gundam-esque kind of.
Probably like Macross or Patlabor or something like that. I imagine, just based on the designs.
Do you guys remember the moist critical Mickey Mouse house dance, Mickey House Club dance? So essentially, he's kind of like talking about like the worst apology ever, where like the girl like dances to apologize. I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah, that great moment.
It kind of right now. This kind of reminds me of that, where it's kind of like, "Sir, we found you with felony and like all these evidence against you. What is your response?" I just like to dance and show my emotions, and if I can like inspire like one person, then I've already done what I've been left on this house doing the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dances. It kind of reminds me of the Blade right now that we're talking about.
Didn't you make a video, Sonic, one time where like during the downtime it was all the MK ladies just dancing? You're like talking about something.
That would be my MK 2021 trailer reaction.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just put that in intro.
Isaac Clarke is rattling, and I was like, "What the fuck? What's rattling?"
Is it like?
Can you hear that?
Does it have like something inside of him? Is it like electric?
I think he has batteries.
Ah, very cool.
Pants reveal for the fourth Snake just in. Got to see his pantalones.
Yo, let's go!
How dare you.
Hype. After that video, everyone just whenever I show like MMD like sexy katana like dancing something, people will be like source.
Yeah.
Like, just
oh yeah. By the way, I wanted to finish this. So the best example of that, a villain or a character getting forgiven when they should not be. Well, that too. But Snake brought up like villains who get forgiven like for no reason, not even apologizing. The most egregious example I can think of. It was recent. It was that He-Man Masters of the Universe show written by or produced by Kevin Smith.
Spoilers.
Does anyone care? It's a bad show.
Just go ahead.
Do y'all care or no?
Just go ahead.
Care?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm sure it's like the ending thing or everything.
Is it fine? Okay.
I'm fine with it.
So basically, the main villain of season 2, which is a completely fine villain, it's Evelyn, right? You know, the second in command to Skeletor.
Okay.
Completely fine. Makes sense why she's betraying. It makes sense why she's evil, right? This bitch not only kills off several main characters. You okay?
I'm focusing the camera. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. So not only does she kill off like several important characters to the main heroes, like she's a murderous biatch. Not only does she betray the heroes when she joins with Skeletor again and helps him like win, not only does she become evil, she destroys heaven. This bitch destroys the afterlife. Like literally destroys Valhalla. So she's killed your ancestors too. And she just gets to walk away. They're like, it's not your fault. You had a tough childhood. That's legit the reason given. And it's like, but He-Man, she just destroyed heaven. Like, everyone you ever loved who died is like forever gone now, and we don't get to have an afterlife anymore. Bleh. Like, what the fuck? She's so evil. And the show even treats her as like a reformed good person, because there's a final shot of her like looking good in like a nice outfit, like she's a hero, and she has a cane or a staff, and she just smiles and walks off into the sunset. And I'm like, these writers really don't know what they just did.
Oh, there's another one which is Steven Universe.
Oh, you mean like the diamonds
Well,
or something?
like
The diamonds?
Yeah, they do like
We kind of
genocide
conquered
on planets.
genocide all these other planets. But I mean,
Yeah, and it's like
bleh. Like, we're good now,
Counter-argument.
bleh.
Isaac Clarke doing the splits. Where's your god now? Yeah, he can't do the T pose. His arms don't raise.
yeah. Well, I'll show you one even better.
In superior modeling. That's a figure, as you can see here.
Dang.
Superior.
So I have
here.
here. I have the best one here. 'Cause this is Edelgard von Teresfeld, who is
Damn it.
my emperor.
Okay.
Should it be Empress?
Nope, she goes by Emperor.
Oh, that's kind of badass, I guess.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
it's there's one specific detail. I don't know if you guys recognize this axe, because this does not come with her. I put the axe on.
Nice.
Oh,
Damn it.
we can tell now.
And now you took the axe off.
This is the axe from Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks.
Oh,
Nice.
Because
what?
some of the figures came with it.
Oh, that's so
Cool.
cool. Whose axe is it then originally?
It's just what you find, because Shaolin Monks had a bunch of weapons you can just find and use. Like you
that's
could get
awesome. Oh my gosh.
you could get like kamas, you could get broadswords, these big green soul swords. All the weapons you could find in the game are just were in the figure lines. They even put some of those with the Armageddon figures as well, because they got really fucking lazy. And it's like
Reminds you of like your rant on the MK11 toys too. Like
Yeah.
some of them have random weapons meant for other characters, and you're like, huh?
yeah, like Kano's just here with like a broadsword, and you're like, but Kano never had a broadsword. The only character who had a broadsword in the fighting games was Kung Lao.
It's fine.
He didn't get an Armageddon figure.
Oh wait, the company. I know, but
Kung Lao having a sword feels kind of redundant. I know he had to because of the weapon stance, but he already has a sharp hat. But
Okay.
it's all good. So I
You
have
just
an idea for a
can I-
topic real quick.
But before you get into that topic, I just want to bring one small
Stop
thing.
talking.
MK related.
Just
it's
kidding, go ahead.
MK related. Our audience would rather want this. But do you guys? So I remember like a couple weeks ago, I brought up the topic of like what's some like short MK content that I could go through maybe to like make a video about.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot is Shaolin Monks long? Because I'm sure the game would take
It's-
maybe.
Story-wise, I feel like no. Like cutscene-wise, you probably burned through it in 20 minutes.
That sounds like
it's-
a great idea then. Actually, that I could check out.
I might
if
be
that's
wrong.
the
I never
case.
played it. Ask Snake. I never played Shaolin Monks.
Yeah, the cutscenes weren't like, you know what? Now a cutscene can sometimes feel like a bit
Oh yeah, the full
self-indulgent.
movie
Where
is
it's
like 2 or 3
come
hours
on,
and stuff.
come on, guys, get with it. Like, yeah, but back then it wasn't really like that. So if you just look at the cutscenes, the fatalities, you could probably get through it relatively quickly. If you talk about the actual gameplay as well, because you know there's some cool things to talk about, like when they how there's all those rumors about the throwing people into trees in the living forest. That was first made a thing in Shaolin Monks.
Oh,
So
interesting.
you probably have to do that to advance.
Yeah.
So it's like every level is based on a stage from MK2,
original.
except for the ones the first stage, which is MK1. It's like pretty much all of Shang Tsung's Island you go through, and the Wuxi Academy. Then after that, it's like all MK2.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's one of those games.
Well, the NetherRealm's not MK2, but it's mostly MK2.
Yeah, that's one of those games where I'm thinking like, because I could maybe like for like summer vacation, like just co-op play with my brother like the whole entire thing and record that, and then make 2 videos,
Yeah.
one of like the gameplay and the other one just talking about like the story and stuff like that. Because that seems like something I could consider too. If like you're saying it's not that long, I think I could do that too.
I reckon if you did that, you might end up splitting it off into like Shaolin Monks, Kung Lao sucks, because Kung Lao's not a good character in that game.
Oh.
Don't forget, though, Shaolin Monks has one of my favorite lines in Mortal Kombat history because it handles a serious topic so poorly and like never gets addressed again. Is this a spoiler if I say who dies?
How about don't tell me that? Even though I kind of don't
Okay,
feel like
I
it's
won't,
that big
I
of a
won't.
deal, because
In
I said it
Shaolin
before
Monks,
in a past podcast too, but yeah.
Shaolin Monks
I
is
won't
one of
even bring
those
it up.
games where like I genuinely don't know like anything about it. It's like I know a little bit
Gotcha.
about it. I know the intro. I know that you can.
oh, Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's funny that Snake probably doesn't know what I'm talking about. So I'm also like, running low on video ideas. I wanted to cover Kira somehow, like in Deception, right? Because sometimes boring characters are actually broken. Like Cobra is actually a very broken character. Made a full video on him. Darius is a very broken character. That boy is finally going to reach 30,000 too. I didn't think he'd be able to do it because Darius is admittedly like
congrats.
Probably the least interesting character to put in a thumbnail. Because even though Cobra is just a blonde dude, people know who Cobra is because of how unliked he is. Darius is one of those characters you just forget about.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, people forget that Darius even exists. But yeah, I wanted to do a video on Kira, but then I'm like discovering there's nothing broken about her in terms of tech. She's just legit Sonya and Kano, which is kind of interesting because like Snake pointed out, they're dead, so they had to have their stereotype in there or their archetype. But gameplay wise, there is no info on her at all. So, damn.
I'm trying to look up your video of Darius because I'm just curious about the title of it.
The most brain dead rushdown in Mortal Kombat.
Maybe the title helped out there.
I
I changed the title twice, but that was the original title. I changed it back. Go ahead, Snake.
What I like the most about Kira and Cobra is that I think over half the endings featuring those two characters see one betray and kill the other.
That is one of the interesting things about them, yeah. Just in their endings.
So it's really weird in Armageddon because like they die in their own ending to the other. Like Kira kills Cobra in Cobra's ending, not the other way around.
Ha 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 ha! That is funny. Yeah, you're right.
So it's not about getting revenge; it's about getting if you want to play their endings.
That's why Snowblind is a bad adaptation because Kira gets killed by Kenshi and Cobra gets killed by Shang Tsung. They don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Bad adaptation.
It's also funny how in Deception, there's a big oversight that implies one of two things: either Cobra is immortal and does not age, or you don't age in the Chaos Realm. Because otherwise, it makes no sense that Shujinko is tasked with killing Cobra by Darius. No, by the other guy.
Dairu
gives you a contract to kill Cobra, and then you get put in prison, and then he becomes old, like Shujinko's old, and he gets out of prison. Then you can find Cobra and actually kill him, and Cobra looks the same. He's like, "You want to fight me, huh? Should be an easy warm-up."
The timeline for that game is weird. Like I think the first time you go to the Nether Realm as like an 18-year-old, you see Cyrax and Natara just like hanging out. Which they didn't even go to the Netherrealm in Deadly Alliance. They only stayed in Outworld.
You don't know. There's no proof they didn't go there.
You could go on
an ally for them not being there.
Why would they go to the Netherrealm though, you bitch? Why would they do that?
Hey. There's no need for the name calling, but no, I'm just saying, like, I'm being one of those internet people. Like, well, actually, if you can't prove they never did, then it's not actually, like,
this is exactly the type of people who come to me and keep saying, well, actually, Reptile, Ferrotor, and Ermac are dead in MK11. It's like, proof? Well, they don't. They aren't in the game.
Only blinded. That's the biggest one. Shao Kahn wasn't killed, only blinded. And it's like a meme now. I even saw it in my video. One of your people brought your meme to my video, where like I brought up Kenshi, and they're like, Kenshi never actually was killed, only blinded. And I was like, you motherfuckers, get out of here. Sonic's fans, get out of my video.
Yeah. As much as like,
I'd love to see, you know in Deadly Alliance when you do test your sight and like Kenshi will listen in because he can't see.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that being done, but with Shao Kahn. But like Shao Kahn's never been in a game that had test your sight. Like I think it might have been in MK9 maybe, but I don't think he's actually been in a game with test your sight. Because if you could get into like do Kenshi's animations, you could be like, ha, he was blinded. I get it.
Yeah, maybe I could
be
like
funny,
a mod.
like as an edit.
You could do like a mod for like the Deception
you could.
game.
You can do that with the hook mod, actually, Snake. The hook mod lets you replace anybody with anybody. So I'm pretty sure, Snake, if I wanted to, I could probably do it. I'll try. That hook mod is so confusing. I did my best. I hope those shots work.
I managed to make it work. Is
this some behind the scenes things I don't know about?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Basically, don't worry. You'll see it before it's out. But
true.
Yeah, basically it's just because I needed to get some shots from MK9 that I can't get because I can get the hook mod, but it doesn't work with the version of MK9 I got a hold of because it's not the most up-to-date version. So what can you do?
Shit, actually.
The game got,
I should. Oh damn, maybe I should ask for help from Tronadog in that case too. If you have like things you can do like that.
We're not friends like that. You're not
damn.
We're not that close.
We're not that close.
Since when am I the favorite?
It's okay. You know what? You know what? You know what? Snake. Snake. You're gonna come back in my next sucks video as another collab person. Dog. You're not gonna come back.
I mean, Dog says that, but I'm pretty sure he collaborated with you before he collaborated with me.
Probably checks out.
Yeah, no proof.
Because I made that KK in a wheelchair joke, and I showed Sonic thinking that he would like it. I'm glad he did too, because it's like a 50-50.
Oh, that was such a long time ago.
Not with most YouTubers, but with the FGC YouTube in general, there's some really petty people who like just hate you. And I thought there is a small chance that Sonic just hates me for some reason. So hope he doesn't think I'm stealing this joke from him. So I showed him the KK in the wheelchair joke. It was just for like the first 20 seconds of my video because Kotal Khan got buffed.
Yeah.
It just so happens that Joker's brutality with the wheelchair, where he puts the opponent in the wheelchair, and I just freeze frame it. I do a robot voice of like Kotal Khan being like, "You fool! You've only made me more powerful.
Yes.
This is my final form."
It's amazing.
It shows all the buffs that Kotal Khan got, and I thought it was awesome. Sadly, I couldn't keep the chair in for the actual buffs. That would have been a lot of editing, and it would have covered up all the moves and stuff.
Of course, yeah.
The joke is there. The premise is there. He need only sit in the wheelchair, and much like giving Light Yagami the Death Note, it gives him all of his powers back.
Yeah, in terms of collab, like, sadly, yeah, Trotodog. I mean, no, not sadly, like, blessingly, Trotodog definitely did.
Unfortunately, in the early days, I had to settle for True Underdog in the early days. Unfortunately,
how do you think I feel? I have to settle with me every day. I know it sucks.
How do you think, Dog? How do you think your girlfriend feels?
Oh,
what girlfriend?
Oh my. To be fair though, like I think
boyfriend.
To be fair though, so I did the first collab video I did with Trinidog was like my defending Aftermath video, which we both had a video about. We defended the Mortal Kombat 11 game, and then we defended Aftermath. But just to be clear though,
fucking banger video, so good.
Oh, I love that video so much too. It was such a fun time. But to be clear though, like during that time, I got in contact with the Force Snake already, preparing for your Scorpion's Revenge cameo, Raiden cameo already. It's just I needed a video in between for my fans and stuff like that. So maybe I got in contact with the Force Snake first. You never know. Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? You just admitted you did.
No, because I don't know the date. I don't know the date.
Well, the video did fine after 2 years. It's finally like it's at 72,000 views.
Hell yeah.
I was being sarcastic, Sonic. I actually hated that video, and I in fact hate working with you.
Oh no!
But I was out of ideas at the time, and the video did so bad. I thought about then and there just pretending I never knew of your stupid face. But
that's right. I didn't show my face yet. Actually,
charade up.
Yeah, I have 70,000 views on my video too.
Did even I not know what you looked like? That's possible.
No, I don't think so. I didn't show
very likely.
I didn't show my face until like
because the first time I ever saw your face was when you intentionally you had your face covered anyway. I think a little bit. You had the Eskimo outfit.
Yeah,
but you did you purposely tried to make yourself look ugly, which I don't get why you did. You were like, like you did, and I was like, why do you do that? Why do you make himself look as unflattering as possible?
I have no idea which one you're talking about.
I don't remember. Are you juggling, Snake? Oh, never mind. I thought you could juggle.
You are juggling. You are juggling.
Okay, I have to ask you something now. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to bring it up. So, you mentioned in the chat a controversy. Did you mean Snake's controversy, or do you mean me?
Yo.
I don't remember my controversy.
Yo.
Did I walk into another controversy?